Today, guys, we're here with Logan Fullmer, a San Antonio real estate entrepreneur, and we're gonna go over how he just bought this $3.5 million building for $1.5 million. All right, so just to give him like an intro on what you do, man. What exactly is it that you do, and how did you find this deal?
So I'm a real estate guy. I do land development. I got a wholesaling company. I specifically like a lot of industrial real estate. But in this case, this lead came in because it was a distressed asset. There was an ownership company that was in default. They were in bankruptcy. And I just happened to stumble across it because it had a really big for sale sign right there.
Oh.
And I'd outgrown my current business. Driving home one day, and I literally just called them. They happened to be for sale, so the numbers got better as I dug deeper, though.
Nice. So it wasn't actually like an off market. It was for sale on MLS and everything, or?
Well, it was on the commercial listing service, but the problem is they listed it several years ago and it was overpriced. It had been priced at $2.5 million, and all the lookers looked and said it's too much, and the brokers hadn't lowered the price yet, so it kind of gotten stale, kind of like an over 90-day or over 60-day listing on residential, like that.
Okay. So, guys, I know what y'all are used to watching on this channel is flipping houses and single family, right? So if you're interested in this, you're gonna love this video. So we're gonna go and tour it, but just to let you know and give you a little, like, what you're gonna see, what they actually do here is they wholesale just like we do in single family, but with industrial and lots and commercial buildings. So we're talking fees, $600,000, $500,000, that type of deal. So I hope you are excited. Leave some comments, make sure you share with your friends, and let's go check it out. All right, so we got some construction going on in here. So just to like let them know, like, what does a remodel of a building like this cost? Is it like $1 million type deal?
Depending on the age and the condition and what you've got to do, the scope, cosmetic remodel that also includes mechanical, which is the air conditioning, and that's a big package here. You're looking at between $125 to $175 a square foot.
Okay.
So this building is 15,000 square foot, and my total remodel is about 1.7, 1.8 range.
And that is just construction costs?
Yeah, that includes labor, materials, everything. So that is only construction.
You got architects, you got...
Yeah, that includes all that. That's all your soft costs.
Okay.
Engineers, architects, designers.
Okay.
No furniture.
Okay.
That's extra.
And so, like, I was doing like a little small remodel on my office.
Right.
So, like, the difference between a single family remodel and a commercial remodel, like, what are the biggest differences?
One of the biggest issues you got to find out is your major systems: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, foundation, and roof, just like a house or a smaller office. But they're so much more expensive here because your contractors have to have licenses, they have to have insurance, bonding, they have to have engineers on staff to make sure that your mechanical system is done perfect. Whereas in a house, you just toss one in, it's not as big of a deal, it's got to be right here. So to give you an example of what that tastes like, the air conditioning system costs $350,000 in this building.
Dang, I can see from my office, I think I counted them, you put like 11 or 12 units brand new. I'm like, I was counting them, I was like, damn, he just put like 12, or was it 30? I don't know, it was something like that.
No, you're right, it's like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Another thing, every item is built to a more commercial grade. So for example, like you look at this door frame right here, this thing is steel and it's anchored on in a much different fashion. So when you're doing your budget, a door frame, a door, and the installation costs you about $1,200 each.
Damn.
That's a lot, but a residential application, a door is going to get destroyed in 10 years.
Yeah.
You're going to get about 30 years out of this. So you get about 3 times as much, but it has to be sturdier. Your trades have to be a little bit more skilled too, so that's why it costs more. Another example I'll give you is when we walk in here, you're going to see some of the glass doors inside. Those don't really change the value or the use of the building, but they make it a much more attractive, much more useful, more fun space.
Right.
And those doors cost about $5,000 each between the glass section and the door.
Installed?
Yes, installed. You do get labor with that.
I was actually talking to him about the doors. I was like, I love the appearance, like the way it makes it look. It's just like a modern, like...
It opens it up too.
Yeah.
When you go into the old offices, it's all drywall and it's all solid core doors.
Right.
And you start to feel like you're in this crunched down small place. So this is a section of the suite that I've not remodeled yet. I'm gonna plug this. This is what the place looked like before I ripped it apart. So you got solid doors, lots of basic drywall, low ceilings.
Oh, so you lifted everything up?
Yeah, over in the new suite, and the new side, everything's been brought up. This is the last suite that I haven't gotten to yet.
So this is what it looks like right here. Okay.
Right.
See, this is what this is what like what you're used to when you walk in a building around here. This is what it looks like.
1990s, early 2000s. This is what you got.
Yeah.
Old stuff.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you at least had this up so we can see the difference.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge difference.
It is, and the funny part is, this was occupiable. I had tenants in here. Now, we pulled down some ceiling tiles so that we could get to some electrical and stuff, but there were tenants in here. They were just paying a lot lower rent rate, and that type of tenant can come or go any day. You just don't know.
So, like, what were they paying before, and what are you going to raise it to after?
And they were about $10 a square foot.
$10?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
The new rent rates I'm signing on leases right now are 22 to 24 a square foot.
So you're doubling up.
2.5 times.
Nice. Dang, they were paying $10. They got a good deal. They got a real good deal.
Another trick though is you'll find a lot of these older buildings like this that a landlord's owned for a long time, they did not raise the rents because they don't want vacancy. They don't want to fool with getting new tenants because they don't want to pay a broker to get the new tenants. It's expensive. They just leave the tenants in there. There are tenants here that have been here for 10 years and the rent rate just goes, That's why.
And it's crazy like what the raising the ceilings would do. Cause like it does feel a lot bigger in your other office. Like it feels cramped. Now that I've walked on both sides, you know?
Right, so you can see how it looks in here. And this common area, the old ceilings were down like that one. You see how much bigger and more open this now feels?
Yep. So the doors are bigger too, right? Like the door frames and everything?
Right, the old doors were smaller. As you can tell, these are slightly wider and a little bit taller. Those are some of the indicators of the older versus the newer buildings.
Yeah, feels a lot different.
So we'll go into my suite. So we'll go from the mess to the clean.
All right, there you go. Real quick. That looks crazy. It's a big difference.
So the first few things you'll notice are the glass doors, taller ceilings, you got level 5 drywall and new finishes.
And you did that everywhere?
Yep, everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So your layout, we also do a lot of layout changes so that we can have, office suites around the outside, and then our common area is just more spacious.
So what did that take? Because the difference between when you took those, when we took off those ceiling tiles, it looks way different than this. So did they have to redo everything, like all this piping and everything for all the wires?
We had to move a bunch of electrical. There were a bunch of air handlers for the air conditioners hanging here under the drop ceiling. We had to get those down and get them into closets like that.
Oh.
So it makes a huge difference.
And then move everything in boxes and ducts like this? Because that's not how it looked over there.
Right. Yeah, they had the housing type, the flex duct. So we had to lay it out so that you could get good air distribution, but it also wasn't so obtrusive. So if you look in these offices here, those have mini splits. They don't actually have the traditional air conditioning duct, but they also have their own adjustment. Each one can have whatever temperature they want.
Oh, dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
So this is a mini split right here?
More or less, yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, and you got your own therm?
Yep.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So this is the acquisitions floor?
Yep. So at the height of the market in 2021 is what I would call it. This company had 18 people complete with salespeople, transaction coordinator. No, wait, we were at 16. We had about 16 folks in here. All but 2 of them were salespeople. And as the market started to cool off, we started to go up to bigger asset class. But we also realized we're gonna have to rehire and retrain a lot of folks.
Yeah.
We're also now we're going to be a hybrid brokerage. So we're in the middle of rehiring a large group. We have a sales manager starting Monday, and then we're going to lead the rehiring effort under him. So we've rebuilt all of our systems, our processes and procedures. Now, instead of coming in here and getting 2 weeks worth of training and throwing the sales floor, we're going to have 4 months worth of training on asset class, how to construct these buildings, what the site plans look like. Then you go into what is the avatar of your buyer and your seller. We go through what a fund looks like, what a family office looks like, how they finance their deals, how they buy them, how they manage them. And that way, when you teach the person who your buyer category is, now you know exactly who you're calling. You know everything about those family offices and how they operate, so you can call them in a much more mature and thorough sales call. But what that means is you don't fill an office with 12 new people and get them on the phone in a week. It's a 120-day period to rebuild that staffing. So that's why we're a much more calm situation right now. The market's changed, we've shifted to bigger assets, and while we can still move through some decent deals, we're rebranding and rebuilding to a hybrid brokerage.
So when you had the 18 people, were you doing single family or like single family wholesaling, or what were you
had
doing?
some single family, but a lot of it was duplex, fourplex. We had some small multifamily, 18 to 30 unit type stuff. And then we started to have a few things fall into our system that were bigger assets, and that's how we got a taste of that.
So what's a bigger asset? Like industrial?
Yeah, a lot of it. So we don't do quite so much with large multifamily, because so many funds buy that. The prices have gone so high.
Yeah.
And it's such a sophisticated marketplace and a very efficient marketplace. You don't have much room for deltas. The delta between the buyer and the seller, that money, that's how we make our profit. You know, an assignment fee, or for us a double close.
Right.
But when you're looking at industrial less than, I'd say the top side of those deals are $5 million and no more than 50,000 square foot building.
Okay.
When you get above that, big funds are buying those. Below that, funds aren't very active in the smaller industrial space. But the neat thing is, on single family, you have to get a big discount to make a fair amount of dollars. $100,000 house, to make 20 G's, you got to get a 20% discount.
Right.
Or more. Well, let's go to a $3 million deal. If you only make 10%, that's easy to misprice, but that's $300,000.
There you go.
So you can scrape off a $300,000 assignment fee, and folks say, I'm willing to sell fast and I'll take a discount to make it move. But I got a fund buyer who wants a performing asset, and they'll pay close to market for it, and they're cool with it. And the seller's happy with it. So you have a happy buyer and seller, and you can strip $300,000 to $500,000 off the deal.
Dang.
See the difference there?
And I would assume too that like the sellers, it's not as sophisticated seller as a bigger apartment. You know what I mean? Because it's still just like a warehouse. It probably was in their family or whatever. You know, they just have a business.
That's a really interesting point. That's who our sellers typically are. They built the warehouse themselves 20 years ago, or they bought it and ran their business out of it, and they're kind of at the end of their career. They may have a tenant in there, or they may be winding down their business, and they're ready to sell. You just hit the nail on the head. That's exactly who your seller is.
Yeah, that makes sense though. Because an apartment, like that's the top level. Like, you know what I mean? Not anybody can just go buy an apartment.
Right.
But I want to see this, bro, because I was looking at this, and these are real numbers, guys. So check this out. You're talking about this is true wholesale deals, right?
Yep.
Like wholesale profits?
Deals we close in our office.
$600,000 on one deal. And that's just one of them. Like, I think I saw it again. Another one.
So we categorize these by asset. So largest overall.
Oh, it's the same deal. It's the same deal.
That one's the same. There's two awards.
Okay.
This is the largest single family assignment we got was $72,000.
Dang.
The largest duplex, we got 144,000 feet. The largest triplex deal was a $67,000. Strangely enough, the quadplex was about 50. The largest assignment we got on an apartment was about 200. So you can see how those kind of work their way down. This one, oh yeah, that's here.
Dang.
John Duval Realty.
It's okay, guys. So these are real numbers right here. So okay.
Now that's acquisition. Now we'll get our dispo.
Okay.
So
wait, what's the difference though? Like they're not the same deals?
No.
Like JVs or something?
Right. Yeah. So one of them is acquisition, one's a dispo. So one of the persons on the dispo, their best deal was $590 on that one. This person actually held a fair amount of records on this one. They got 80,000, 144 on the duplex. Some of them sometimes are the same, but some of them are different because one of them might have a better record on it.
Dang, shout out to Holly. Shout out to Holly. I see 125, 590, geez. So
the interesting part is you see some of these numbers. We have a couple deals on the table right now. One of them we ended up taking in-house, but that one had $1.4 million, $1.7 million was the fee. And what's ironic about that is it was such a smoking deal, but the buyer was slow to send us a contract, and it gave us enough time to do our own research, and we realized that was a development deal we want.
Yeah.
And our profit on that one would be multiples of what that assignment fee would have been.
So that was the one, I think you made a post on it.
Yep.
And you were in front of your truck, and you sat in front of my Ferrari Guru pick.
Right, yeah.
And so you were gonna make 1.7 wholesale deal.
That's right.
So if you're all new to the channel, I'm sure you know what wholesale deals, right? It's like literally wholesaling real estate. You have no commitment. You don't have to close on anything. So he would have literally assigned his contract to a buyer and made $1.7 million without ever having to close on the property at all, using zero money. Is that right?
Well, in that case, I would have had $30,000 as earnest money.
Oh, as earnest, okay.
But that would come back to me when I close.
Right. Okay, but you get that though, right? He didn't have to buy the property. He just had to put down earnest. But these are bigger deals. So $30,000, you're talking about $1 million deals, right? So imagine that, making $1.7 million, never buying the property. That's what he's doing.
Right.
Or he was gonna do. But instead,
as we spent the time doing our diligence for the buyer, we realized it was a development deal where we can make multiples of that. So that one's a 250 something unit subdivision, and it's raw land right now with partial entitlement. So we'll buy it, we'll close on it instead of wholesaling it. So now we're gonna have to come up with a 3.5 for the land, another $1 million for the entitlements, and we're getting the neighbor to contribute his land in the deal. Once we go through all that and get done, the 250 some unit entitled subdivision will sell for about 18 million, including the MUD, which is a utility district that attorneys have to form for us.
Wow, okay, so now you're taking it from a $1.7 million profit to what?
By 10 or 11.
10 or 11 million. Man, that's crazy. So not only are we talking about the money though, you're talking about your skill set just increased crazy through the roof. Because now another deal comes like that in your table, boom, you already know how to get it done.
Yeah, so the neat part in that case is there's an expert who's really good at the land entitlements. I think my skill set with me and the team got better at finding the right people. So I won't be involved in the day-to-day of doing the entitlements on it. But the developer that's coming in and partnering with us, he's going to do it.
Right.
So our skill still became finding people, piecing things together, but we actually won't do the entitlement ourselves. We're going to give him a split of the deal.
Right. But if you look at any big deals, this is how all big deals work. There's not one guy that can do everything. It's just impossible. There's way too many moving parts. So I'm just saying, but now your skill set's like $10 million deal, get it done. I know who to call.
Right.
I know the moving parts, and that's crazy. That alone is worth way more than the money.
It is.
You know what I mean?
But now we're able to look at so many more of them as should we become owners.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is the guys doing the acquisition right now, we can still give them their fee. And they're happy because they got a lick.
How much do they make?
So it depends on the deal. Right now we're between 5 and 10% on the acquisition side and between 5 and 10% on the disposition side. So what I'll find is in our sales roles.
Oh, you're talking about your team.
For my team.
Oh, so this came from your system?
Yeah, so we're still going to pay them.
Oh, okay.
So see, it would be unfair of me to say, you know what, I'm going to buy that deal. I didn't get to sell it. I'll get my fee. Here's the deal. We'll fairly value it together. You're going to get paid your fee on it.
Okay.
So last year, the low end, our sales folks made about 65, 70,000. On the high end, they're making about 220 to 250.
Dang, that's good. So like on this case, how would that work though? Because that's where I would always, that was like where I always get stuck, right? So are you going to pay
right now?
Okay, right
Here's
now.
the deal.
Not the 10 million projected profit.
No, because if that person if that person who brought the deal can also make it worth 10 million extra profit, then you get paid.
Well, see, that's where yes.
So what I say is, all right, you got the thing contracted for 3.5. We thought we found a buyer with a 1.7 spread that was somewhere in the 5 million range. So 1.7
So you came off that.
That's what they'll get paid.
Damn,
on.
that's
It's
good.
still a lick for
10%
them.
is 170 grand.
Bingo.
I wouldn't be mad.
Right.
I wouldn't be mad with that. You know what, Logan, you're my best friend. Let's go ahead and do that one. And then also, would you cut them in on the back end or no?
No.
No,
unless they do work on the back end.
Yeah, it doesn't
Here's
make
the kicker.
sense.
The people that make money on the back end either have to do the entitlement work or raise money or contribute money.
Gotcha.
And I've told folks, although I know where they're at in that case, when you guys are ready to invest in those deals and you've saved enough, we'll let you in on the LP, the limited partner side, as an investor.
There you go.
Because our investors are going to make 100% profit in 24 months. So if they invest $1 million, they'll walk away with $2 million in 24 months.
Damn.
Right. It's a sick deal for them too.
That's a sick deal.
So let's just say one of the sales guys said, man, I got 50 G's saved up. You can put in 50 and walk away with 100 in 24 months. That's a 50% return each year.
Damn.
It's good.
All right, cool. So so guys, if you're watching this, this is how we're explaining like basically the breakdowns of how his people get paid, his inside acquisition agents get paid, but also how they can be a part of the deal to get paid as well. So that's pretty cool. Not a lot of people do that. But what I wanted to ask you a question because it was funny because it was off that post about where you were in front of the F-150.
Yeah.
And you know what? I always
My
noticed
guru
this.
Ferrari.
Yeah. He was like, hey, I just committed $2 million on 200 lots. Here's my guru pick. And it was in front of the F-150 and it was funny. But I don't know, most people that I know that like really do big deals and they do big deals, lots of money involved. They're pretty simple like that. Like it's not about the flash and all that. Where did you learn that from? Did you ever have the flash? Did you ever have that itch?
I inherited a bunch of money when I was young.
Oh, you remember talking about that?
A house, a King Ranch, and a Porsche. Because that's what I always wanted, but I realized I wasn't any happier.
Right.
And it was frustrating because I had all these expenses and higher bills, and I realized it didn't make me happy. So at some point, I started to grow a business, and I kind of got caught with the bug of the business. And for me, it's I come here to stay alive and stay in the game and the thrill of the chase. The truth is, I don't need another dollar to live the rest of my life at this point. Me and my family can live our same lifestyle for the rest of our life. We're fine. But I come here every day because this is what keeps me alive.
What do you love about it?
It's the thrill of the chase, man. The thrill of the chase is generally more important than the kill, in my mind. Now, some people, they like the fancy stuff. My wife likes cool stuff, but she's moderated enough to where it doesn't hurt our lifestyle, and she can still get some cool, flashy stuff. But for me, the expensive cars, I don't love them because you have to be careful with them. Your insurance is high. If you get a big dent on it and have to repaint it, it lowers the value.
I'm dealing with that right now.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that right now.
They're cool, but to me, they don't make sense economically. And when I do a good deal, I get to distribute 5 or 10% to me to live on, and the rest of it I apply back in the business. So when the next deal comes, I can do that deal and I'm ready. That's the sport of it.
And that's how you're doing this though?
Yeah.
That's how you got a $3 million building, because you had the liquid, right, for the remodel, $1.5 million remodel. No, because that kind of stuff fascinates me, because like there's certain levels of success, and I notice the higher people go, like the less they care about the jewels and all that. Because I remember I saw a picture, it's funny, like Jay-Z, there's this picture when he was like in the projects and he had like fat gold chains and everything, and then now he's a billionaire, he's like no chain and just a suit.
I've seen that.
And it's funny like how you mature like that. Because for me, I think I'm still like in the young levels, so I still like the flat. I got a Shelby truck and a Corvette and a Hellcat. I like all that shit. Whatever, it's cool. I mean, I buy real estate too, don't get me wrong, I invest a lot of money, but like I haven't got out that stage yet.
Man, some people love that though, and that's not bad at all. It's just specifically for me, that stuff doesn't bring me joy, but there was a time in my life where it did.
Yeah.
I know some guys that love cars, and they got a sick collection of cars.
I love cars.
Yeah, I mean, that might be your thing, and that's
You like
not
cars
bad.
though. You hit the Celine.
Yeah, I do enjoy those to an extent, but actually after I bought all those and had a whole pile of them,
Yeah.
I realized I gotta have someone keep them clean. I gotta keep the car moved so I don't get flat spots on the tires.
Yeah.
I have to keep them registered. I
Yeah.
sold them all.
Right.
Because it was just extra work. Now, one thing I will splurge on is I bought a watch. I bought this. It was expensive. It was
your
50
trophy?
grand. That's my
How much
one,
was it?
50 grand.
Woo!
That's my one thing where I'm like, dude, this is my flash.
You're presidential.
Right.
I think every successful entrepreneur should have a presidential
That's
watch.
one of the few things that says, you know what, I made it.
Yes.
I might be wearing gym clothes and looking ratty one day, but if I have that on, people know I'm about the business.
That's right. That means you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, that's just like I said. That stuff's always like fascinated me, because there's some people that like all that stuff and there's some people that don't. And I usually see like when people get higher and higher, that stuff goes away. I don't know. But then you got people with yachts and jets and stuff. So,
right, that
you know what I
happens
mean?
too. But another thing that I did start to learn along the way is if you eat bologna or caviar, they still got the same amount of calories. Mm-hmm. You still get full at the end of that meal. One costs you $2, one costs you $2 grand. Mm-hmm. When you really care about the economics and they really matter to you, and that stuff is an important theme in your life, sometimes you look at it like that way too. I don't care for the caviar, man. I'll still eat the bologna.
Right.
It doesn't make, my life doesn't get any better. So I feel like from zero to like $500,000, your life really dramatically improves. Mm-hmm. Once you're making $500,000 a year, you can afford all the stuff you want, you like it, you're not worried about how to pay the bills next month or whatever. Mm-hmm. But beyond the 500 grand, your life doesn't incrementally improve a whole heck of a lot. Like I've flown commercial and I've flown private. That actually is one difference. Flying private's pretty nice. You're not waiting in line. That's nice. Yeah. But let me give you a different example. Yeah. I vacationed in Hawaii and Maui. I'm sorry, in California and Maui. Uh-huh. Maui was cool, but California to me felt like just like Maui, but a third of the price. I don't need to go to Hawaii, man. I go to California.
Yeah, I like California.
I got the beach, got the sun, got the nice palm trees, but for a third of the price.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know how much more my life would improve if I had a helicopter over driving my Ford F-150. I don't know. You know?
If you're in LA, it might make a difference. The traffic. But so like, and these are cool things that I like to talk about with people, because you're right. Like after a certain point, like you don't get fulfilled anymore. That's what I tell people. Like, and it sounds kind of like I don't know, like the way it sounds, but at some point you get used to it, and it's like, okay, well, I get the car in, but I'm not happy no more. That
after a couple months, it's just a car again.
Right, exactly. And
the first month you feel like you feel so important. After like it's a car.
Yeah, and I think that's why so many rich people, like you see them and they like, you see people like killing themselves and shout depression, because the money is never the answer. It never is. But I like what you said. So like you're doing it for the growth. It's like you're creating something, right? Like you're creating something from nothing.
Yeah, at this point it's the challenge, it's the sport, it's the thrill, it's the game. That's what I like about it.
Right.
At the end of the day, all that money in my bank account it's not changing my day to day, but the sport, when I come in, and I look at the balance sheet, look at the cash account, look at the assets, that's like the chess game to me.
Right. So it's a sport, right? Do you consider it like this is how you measure it in our sport, business?
This is my hobby. Like I don't have any hobbies. I exercise and come to work.
Yeah.
This is my hobby.
Yeah. So what do you gauge your success off? Do you have like metrics for anything that you try to hit, or is it just like come in and do deals?
It's really that. When I started, I remember folks would say you have to have goals. If you don't have goals, you don't know where you're going. And I remember we'd have all these years that were really good, and I'd try to set a goal for the next year, and sometimes I'd fall flat. Sometimes I'd just destroy it. And at one point, I remember just thinking, I'm going to show up here and work as hard as we can, and do as good as we can every year, and we're going to grow as much as we possibly can. And we've killed it every year. So I don't have a metrics, just do as good as we can.
Yeah. So it gives you life, right? Because that's how it is with me too. Because like people say, like, why do you like because like I work a lot, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this what gives me life. Like I just love creating shit. Like from like people come to my office now and they're like, damn, because they knew me when growing up. They're like, damn, like what the hell?
Where'd
like,
you go?
Yeah. Like, and I'm just like, man, it's kind of I come to work every day, bro. I love this shit. Like, you know what I mean? And like it's like you were saying, like the cars and all that, it don't do nothing. So what are your goals now, man? What are your goals to create like with this business?
So I actually do now have a goal, and I've thought about it lately. I'm 41 years old this year, and I realized if I got hit by a bus or a train, my wife would have a lot of cash if she liquidated all this stuff. But the hard part is you then live off that cash in a regressive asset model. You spend a little bit of each month and it starts to decrease. And I realized that I should probably build the part of a business in a different side for her and my kiddos. So I decided to build an industrial portfolio. So the goal is to get that putting out about $1 million annually in net operating expenses for my share of that portfolio. So that if I were to get hit by a bus and can't come do this anymore, I'm not having to live off these assets, you know, off the cash for the rest of my life. We'll just live off that cash flow. And if I get hit by a bus, my wife and them, my kiddos, they can do what they need to do for life, and they don't have to think about my life living on the terms of my work and my income.
Right.
Those thresholds wouldn't apply to them.
So basically your goal is to create $1 million a year in cash flow.
From that particular side of the business.
Yeah.
There are other goals growing this stuff. It's fun and exciting, but I need to build that portfolio up real quick and get it going so it's on autopilot. But the interesting part is, because I have a couple partners in that, the cash flow from that needs to be about $4 to $5 million because they each need their share.
Okay.
So
but you
we'll
got the capital for it. You got the capital. Once you have the capital for it, cash flow is easy, right?
Yeah, I bet we'll have that whole thing done in probably 3 years, maybe 4.
Yeah.
While we're doing all this other stuff.
The 4 or 5 million a year?
Yeah.
I mean, guys, that's why you got it. That's why I preach wholesaling real estate, right? Because it's the fastest way to make money, like capital and very low barrier to entry. Like I'm pretty much anybody can do it. If you're watching this, you can do it. I guarantee you. Maybe not at this level because this is like commercial, this is industrial stuff. You gotta know a little bit more and have a little bit more in the bank, right? But this is why I tell people, because like the goal is always cash flow. Right, cash flow. Like, what are you gonna make if you don't have to work? What are your assets making for you? But for that, you need capital. So at this point,
yeah,
I mean, you got the capital for it, then cash flow is easy. You know exactly what to target, what to get, and it's all cake after that.
Yep.
But that's why I preach this wholesaling single family, because pretty much anybody watching this can do it and get to these type of things. And then if you want to keep going, then you get to next levels, and these are just higher levels. Same exact concept, just higher levels. All right, so for the viewers watching this, like to get into this type of business, to get in this field, like did you have like specialized trainings, like college, like something like that? Or like how'd you get into this business, man?
No, JR, I didn't have any specialized training. What did happen is I saw some other guys in this business. I remember having a good conversation with them, and I realized they're not any smarter than me, and they're not any harder working than me. And I remember telling myself in my head, I can do that. And I'm not kidding you. The first thing I went out and said, let me go find some vacant land. I can do that. I did it. Then I said, let me go try to flip these houses. I can do that. And I literally worked my way up all the way thinking, if he can do it, I can do it. I remember seeing people and thinking, dude, that guy's not better than me. I'm gonna go do this too. And that's why when I see folks that are interested, they're aggressive, and they're willing to put in the work, I always tell them, you can too.
See, I like that. And that's the whole point of why we do what we do, because I know a lot of you guys watching this want to be at what we're doing, right? You see all the cool cars and all that. And why I do this is to show you, like, I'm not that much smarter than you if you're watching this.
But the difference is you and I did the work.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of work.
You went and did the work, so you may not be any smarter than them, but you were willing to step out and say, I'm gonna take a risk, I'm gonna go do the work, I can do it too. And you did.
Exactly, that's true. You can't skip that part. So one thing that you don't see, because the camera ain't on me all the time, is I get up every day. No matter if I'm sick, if I don't feel like coming, and you'll see me in the office. So that's one thing you can't skip. And I think it's just really basically just coming to work every day, stacking all these wins up daily, every day just coming and just showing up is what leads to these wins, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't want to put in the work, and I just don't get it. I was thinking, like, what do you think? Why don't you think people want to put in the work sometimes?
I think folks are cut from different cloths. So I'm a person who likes to work hard, and it makes me feel good and alive and valuable and important and meaningful. But I'll give you an example. One of my daughters, she doesn't like to do that kind of stuff. She does good in school, but she doesn't love it. The girl can sing, she can act. And at one point I thought she's going to come take over my business, or one of the kids. But I remember thinking, I want her to go do what she enjoys doing every day. And if it doesn't produce a lot of money, or it's not a commercialized success from business, I don't know that I really care. So some folks, they're driven by this and they're good at it. Some folks want it, but they don't have the hard work. They don't have that built in them to work hard. And that's okay too. So some people aren't cut for this.
That's true. That's true. Like, not a lot of people people want it. What do you?
Everybody wants cool stuff, but not everybody wants to work hard.
Yeah,
that's okay.
What do you think? Well, I would say not even people. Mostly, what I see like actually want it either. Some people are just cool with
right,
usual. So
you got a group of people that really aspire to do something special and different, and those folks, whatever field they get into, they do well. Some folks don't get into a field that pay well, but they're really good at it. You know, a professional violin player may not make a ton of money, but they're the best in the world at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe if you're the best multifamily guy or industrial guy in the world, you're gonna make a ton of money though.
Right, and I think that, but there is also a different in talents too. Like just because you want to do something, like I can want to go be a basketball player, but my talent ain't there. It's like some people just have more capacity in certain areas. Right. So like for me, I feel like I'm an overachiever. Like not a lot of people thought I was gonna do anything in life. What would you consider yourself, an overachiever or like?
Yeah, I would. Like, I look at the guys that I grew up with, and I remember being the guy that got in trouble, the guy that didn't have really good grades, and there were a lot of self-esteem issues and insecurity there. And as I grew up, I started to find things that I could do well, and I continued to do those and try to get better at them. And I step back and look and say, oh wow, the guys of my age group that I grew up with, I'm doing better than 99.5% of them. And I realized, oh wow, it worked out.
Yeah,
it worked. I did good. I think I'm an overachiever based on the metrics.
Yeah. You think you think you're like reaching your max capacity, or you think there's room?
Man, I might get hit by a bus tomorrow and it's all over with. But if I don't, I think the snowball is really starting to grow in the last couple of years. So I see it getting really big.
I like it, man, because I see big things for this company. You know, you got, basically the area y'all are, the niche that y'all are in is untouched. There's not a lot of people that know the specialized knowledge that you have.
You've got a lot of commercial real estate brokers that are really good at what they do. But when you come from the wholesaling world, you're like a guerrilla marketer. You're on the ground, you're scrappy.
Yeah.
And that's why we smoke a lot of those brokerages, because they don't work as hard and just penetrate with their marketing so deep like we do. We go right to it. And they don't. They do good, but man, we came from wholesaling real estate is freaking scrappy. When you apply that to a bigger business where no one is as scrappy, you can do well.
Oh man, you hit the nail on the head. So like I would say, so basically like your success comes from your actual like specialized knowledge being marketing, right? Like the way we learn how to market, right? Because you're like targeting, like the way you're able to buy data, the way you're able to target data, the way you're like, they don't know how to do that, and we know how to do that. Like you can go buy a list of data in any county you want and specialize it by anything you want, zoning, square footage.
Yeah,
like it's crazy the way we know how to just work with the data, and that's, I think, is probably your superpower.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then just getting to it and trying to figure stuff out. Because I was talking to your partner, he's like, man, it's like we having a title attorney in here. That's all the information you have on title and deeds and stuff like that. All right, man, to wrap up this video, well, first of all, I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, giving me the tour, man. It's very inspiring.
Always good to see you.
Yeah, for sure, man. But just to end the video, man, do you got any just last words for the viewers?
Like we were talking about earlier, I'll bring this point up because it's top of mind. Maybe not highest priority, but top of mind. Partnerships, your relationships and your connections probably are responsible for about half of what I've been able to accomplish today. So while I might not be smart enough to fix the accounting or the finance issues, I have a partner that does that. And while I might be good at building the glue that pulls this place together, I might not have found that lead, but I get a product as a result of that. So I'm a big believer of your relationships and your network can easily be half or more of your net worth. So I push that. Get out there, go meet some people, shake some hands, and see what you can get out of it.
Man, I love that. All right, guys, I hope y'all like this video. Make sure to like, share with your friends, comment, and we'll see you on the next video. Stay clutch.